Well, I never, like, thought of anything, like, I guess exactly to say, but when I was trying to think about it, I thought of, like, a ton of stuff to say, and I realized that I had a lot to say because I can't really look at people or else I'm going to start crying, so I'm just going to look around. Okay, so, what I kind of realized, though, is that, like, since I was, like, the littlest one, that I was always, like, alone, so Grandma was always, hello.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't come.
My legs are tight.
Okay, anyway, okay.
She will.
So it was always me and Grandma doing stuff, so I had, like, a ton of memories of just me and Grandma, like, cause I mean, obviously I had memories of me with my siblings and Grandma, which, like, I was just talking about one the other day of when we were fighting in the car and Grandma made Olivia leave the car. Like, get out of the car! Made her walk home, and
It's true.
it was like a whole thing. I'm just sitting in the backseat on my boys just, like, laughing. Olivia's just, but Grandma's like, get out of the car!
It was
That's
the one
funny.
time that ever happened.
Right, that was the one time. That's why I
It was
remember.
winter.
But, like, there's memories where we were all together, and then we were just me and Grandma, and I've, like, realized that I've only, like, obviously I've only ever known Grandma for, like, 18 years because I'm 18, but knowing her for that time, she's always just been old in my head, but I've never been able to process that she's old, so I would always think that she could be able to, like, keep up with me, so... Sorry. Okay. So one of the first things that I realized when I was, like, trying to think back on it was that I would always make her go upstairs and play with me, so I always wanted to play upstairs, because I was always, like, forbidden land, because it was just so messy, and she didn't like going upstairs. But I was like, of course I want to go upstairs. So I tried to make her go upstairs, and I run up the stairs, and I'd see her at the bottom of the stairs, and I was little, and I'd be like, Grandma, let's go! And, like, you could tell she didn't want to go upstairs, and she'd, like, I could see her, like, be like, and get ready to go up the stairs, and then she'd, like, grab on the rail and, like, make herself go upstairs and, like, sit up and stay with me, even though, like, sorry. I know she was old, but obviously, like, at the time I didn't realize that, so I was like, oh, let's go upstairs. And then I'd throw myself under we were talking about it earlier. Underneath, like, she had this closet, yeah, you would go in it, and she had, like, all these beads and jewelry, and for some reason there was, like, a little fake, like, kitchen thing down there, so I would, like, fake make her food with her jewelry and, like, put it in front of her and, like, make her fake eat it, and she's, like, 80-something, and I'd be like, eat it, and then, like, watch her eat it, I'm like, yay, and then finally at the end, like, I would, like, go through everything, I'd tear everything up, and she'd always be like, stop, like, don't do that, blah, 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 and we'd, like, end with, like, her sitting in this rocking chair, which I don't know if it's still there or not, I haven't been there so long, but we'd sit in the rocking chair, and then she'd, like, read me these stories and stuff. We'd like look at all the stuff. Cause she'd keep like everything. And all of her stuff, and it'd be like random stuff that like I like, barely put anything on the paper, but she like wrote my name on it, that it was mine, and she had it, and like we'd always like look at it and stuff, and that was cute. But I would like realize that like I was like that like thinking back, I was like, oh, she was like she wouldn't be able to do that stuff, and then as time went on, like we'd be out together, and I don't remember, I like had to go somewhere with her once, like, at Metro Park, it was so random, but it was, like, for work or something, and we were there, and, like, I would, like, try to move quick, and I would walk around, and, like, she'd be, like, yell at me, like, wait up for me, like, what are you doing, like, why are you walking so fast, like, all this stuff, and everyone always tells me that I walk so fast, and I'm like, oh my god, so then I would, like, turn around, like, wait for her, and I'm like, why is she walking so slow, but I realized she's, like, 87, probably, or Metro Park for some reason, so I'm like, okay. And then we go to, like, Kroger, like, when she was still going to the Kroger, and she would, like, try to walk with me, like, she always made me, like, she'd like, look at your arm, so I just walk, like, so slowly, like, why are you walking so slow? But it was always because, like, in my mind, I was always so little, and she was, like, never as old as I thought, because she always tried to keep up with me, but time would catch up to her, so it was just, as time went on, but it was always cute seeing her trying to catch up to me, and then at the end, like, at the very end, like, it would be a thing where I'd have to, like, she wouldn't go down in the basement to get her laundry, like, I'd have to grab it, and I'd be like, why don't you just go in the basement? Like, why would you like, both go in the basement? She's like, well, I don't think I can really make it down over there. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't make it down the basement? Like, I would just, like, forget that she was like that, because she would always just be like, she was, like, my little buddy forever. And I would, like, kind of forget that she's old. But, yeah, that was the thing that I kind of wanted to say, that I just, like, she'd always just be trying to keep up with me. And I don't know if I wrote anything else down that has to do with that at all. But I said the same thing about the house. The house is like a time capsule, and we would always we would always just do little things together because she'd pick me up from school, she'd drive me to school, and if I forgot my lunch, and she would leave work, and then she would bring it to me, and like whatever, and she'd like bicker at me, but she would still do it. Or if I was sick, and she would come get me, and whatever. And we would always like after school go back home, and we'd eat snacks, and there was barely any food really in the house, but she would like. Especially that was gluten-free, and she would just sit and I would be like eating Doritos and all this random stuff and Oreos, and she'd be like looking at my food, and I'd be like telling her to eat it. She's like, I can't, like all this stuff. So then she'd bring her own food, but if she didn't, then she would look at it, and then at the end of the day, we'd always end up eating Doritos and Oreos together, and she would just be like, my fingers are gonna hurt so bad because of her gluten stuff, but she would eat my snacks with me because her, like, even though our fingers were gonna hurt, but it was worth it. But yeah, we would just always do little cute fun stuff, and I remember that with Papa too. Like I remember Papa like making me learn how to tie my shoes when we went to school, and like sitting there, we would bring the chairs into the kitchen and just watch my macaroni cook. Like just me and him would just sit there and watch the water boil, and then we would take it off, and then he wouldn't let me eat the macaroni until he completely stirred it so it would cool. Like he just stirred and stirred and stirred, and we just sit there and watch it. And I just remember like that type of stuff because it was always just me and them because we were at school until they would come back and it would be so exciting because we would all be together. But then with just them, it would be like it was cute because I have like a lot of memories of just like them. It was cute. Yeah. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Brooke.
For Brooke. Make some more for Brooke.
I'm not going to really say much of anything besides the fact that one thing that my dad would say is there's no system to replace individual attention, and everything she's talking about is just individual attention that mom gave and my dad would give too. So it's precious that you guys came up and shared that, and we're super blessed that she tried to keep up with you guys, and she did. I know Angela's going to have something to say if anyone else wants to share. Good job. Thanks.